got somebody that doesn't talk, man. We got a special guest, man. I had to pull tug of war pull to get this man out of his shell, but really excited to finally have him on. Been asking him all postseason. We had a couple teammates of mine do some special editions. We had Loon, we had Splash Kid, Jordan Poole, but welcome my man Andrew Wiggins to the show. And Wiggs, man, I'm just so happy. I'm happy for you and everything you've done, because we wouldn't be here without you, but also just happy to get you out your cell and get you talking.
I appreciate you, bro. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir. And I want to go back. I saw a very interesting, and I got to know your family too. Spoke to your pops at length. And I'll go back to your first interview officially as an NBA player. You were doing your interview. I forgot who it was. It was right around the draft. And they asked you some wild questions like, how does it feel to play with LeBron? Or what do you think if you get traded? Do you want to be wanted? It was wow, and you just sitting there, you're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, I know what to say.
Listen.
Because at that point, it's I knew I was getting traded, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I couldn't just publicly go there and say it.
Right.
So in my head, I'm trying to think quick, damn, what's trying to say to flip this and not, but I was like.
But during that time, how did you feel? Did you know prior to, or were you already drafted and Brian signed and you're like, damn, there goes my development? How did you feel?
I was in summer league, basically, and my agent had told me he's gonna finish out summer league, then most likely you're gonna be in Minnesota. And I was like, all right. And at that point, you don't know what to expect. I'm coming into this. This is my first year in the league, so I don't know what it feels like to get traded, what to do.
Right.
So I'm really just going with the flow. I don't know what's going on. I might have spent 2 weeks in Cleveland, not even, maybe a week. You know what I'm saying?
That was two hell of a cities.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna go to LA, New York, or Miami. And it's Cleveland.
Yeah.
No.
Cleveland and Minnesota.
True story.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to you. Go ahead, E.T.
And I was wondering, did you feel any pressure? Because obviously you got drafted #1 during that time. Shout out, I'm big on the Canadian movement and how you guys have slowly been taking over in sports and leaving your footprint in sports and in music. When Anthony Bennett was drafted #1, all that stuff played out the way it did. Did you feel any excess pressure to really put on? Because you guys are big for the country. It wasn't just a #1 pick. It's Canada's waiting for somebody to follow up on what Steve Nash did and to really take that leap. And you guys had a lot of great players come in, Kelly Olynyk and everybody, and
No, there was definitely pressure. Definitely pressure, especially being from Canada, just knowing the whole city's watching. I mean, the whole country's watching. The whole country wants you to do good. They're calling you the next LeBron, stuff like that. And ain't nobody go with the next LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was a one-on-one. You know what I mean? So I'm there to try and do the best I could in Minnesota and see how it all plays out. But there was definitely pressure.
So I'm going back. I asked your pops after we win a chip and you taking picture with your family, and I'm watching you shiver because you don't know you're gonna be freezing cold because you got champagne and then you got 2 hours worth of interviews. Then you got to take pictures, so it's drying off and it's already freezing in there. And I asked your pops. I said, "When did you know Wiggs was that dude?" And he said, "When he was 12 years old." I said, "Really?" But, I didn't really know until I like to do homework on all my teammates, and then after you had that big game 5, I'm seeing that your pops had a really big game in Houston versus Celtics in 82, I want to say. He had a crazy big series, and he had a run and finish like you had in one of your finishes in game 5. So give me your breakdown of, growing up, your mom's a sprinter, Olympian, and your father's in the NBA, and when did you realize who you were and, the potential you had?
Yeah, well, from as long as I can remember, I always had basketball in my hand. I was always playing basketball. I didn't get a chance to see my dad in the NBA because I wasn't born yet, but I did when he played in Europe. But I don't remember none of that because I was 1, 2, 3, you know what I'm saying? Yep. But he told me he used to always bring me to practices, and I would just sit there and just watch him the whole time. But growing up, it was love, having both parents that were professional athletes. If I ever needed any words of wisdom, advice, or anything, both of them can give me their different sides of things, because my dad is more my dad's more vocal, more like outgoing, social, talks to everybody. And my mom was more like me, more like reserved, but we observed everything. You know what I'm saying? But it's been great. Like elementary school, I ran track till 8th grade. I ran
400.
I was 100 meter and triple jump. Those
okay.
were my events. Yeah, those are my events. And then after that, it was just straight basketball. I had to focus on basketball, lock in, and then from there, the rest is history.
What was your mentality? Obviously, you say the rest is history, but like I said, you were one of the first people to kind of jump over and, make the crossover. You come from Canada. You ended up in like West Virginia or something at first, right?
Yeah. So I was in Vaughan Secondary School back in Canada. And then for my 11th and 12th grade, I went to Huntington Prep in West Virginia. Yeah. But it's something that I had to do. Like I was in Canada killing, but I didn't have no offers. I wasn't ranked.
Of course,
nothing. Like everyone's like, you gotta do it over there. So when I went over there, then everything just started coming, like the offers, the attention, things like that.
What was your mindset coming over here? Because not only is the level of play different, but the importance of sports in Canada compared to America. Were you like,
I just came
did it
over
shock you how much we put an emphasis on sports? Like you can go to school for free and change your whole lifestyle just hooping in America. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That was the goal, just going over to America, and just putting my stamp on it. Going over there, playing for chip in my back, because when people think about Canada, they don't really think of, at that point, they didn't really think of basketball. They thought like hockey, cold, igloos. They didn't they didn't really know what was going on in Canada too much, So it was good to come over there and just showcase everything.
Yeah, and you have an older brother that played at Wichita State, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because he beat my Buckeyes back in the day, I think.
Oh,
yeah. I wasn't on the team, but that was to go to Elite Eight Final Four, right?
Yeah.
So how much, obviously with my brother, they play sports and stuff, so you get free game from your family that you already had with your dad and your mom being professionals, but your brother coming over and having such success early on, did that give you confidence? Because once again, comes from Canada where you guys never heard of NCAA tournament, to coming down and making Final Fours and doing a lot of great things.
It was great. My two brothers and my dad, they were my role models growing up. I always looked up to them and, watching them play till I was old enough to play against them and play with them. My brother went to America for school before I did in high school. And he came back and was telling me how much fun it was, how much the competition is risen over there. So it gave me confidence, it was motivational. And then we were in college. I got to go in college at the same time as him. We didn't play each other, but we were 2 hours away. So we got a chance to see each other, hang out, stuff like that, experience different situations and stuff. So it was love. It was cool.
Yeah, my older brother went to JUCO out there, and he always said that Wichita was cracking. At least
that's all right, bro. I didn't know it was like that. It's very solid. Very solid.
Yeah.
You about it, fool.
So, talk about your time in Minnesota, like prior to the whole Warriors thing and, everything. Obviously, we see the guy that everybody screams help solidify a championship run, the fourth championship. You play at a high level. You locked down to one of the best scorers in the league consistently night in and night out. And you had some tough tasks. You had to guard Luka Doncic. You matched each game, each minute, basically minute for minute. You literally had the toughest job. Yeah. So, building that up and coming from a situation where people were screaming bus and trying to get that in, like, what kept your mindset? What kept you focused? What kept you, to be the man that you are now? Because regardless of which, if you didn't keep developing or you got down on yourself, you're not clamping up a Luka Doncic or a Jason Tatum.
No, for sure. But I always believed in myself. I never stopped believing in myself. In Minnesota, I was 20-plus scorer almost my whole career. And that's hard to do in the NBA. It's hard to do. And I always liked to think that I had the respect of my peers. Different players in the league, they knew I could score, but obviously you're in a bad team. So the people on the outside can be like, okay, like you're scoring, but you're scoring on a bad team. Can you do it in a winning team? Mm-hmm. So when I got traded to Golden State, that was always motivation for me, to be able to succeed and put up numbers and help a team that's winning. So that was my goal.
Yeah. Did you look back at your team? Because, shout out to my boy D-Russ. I'm a big D-Russ fan, but did you kind of take it personal when you got drafted as the number one pick and, quote unquote, the savior? And it's like, yo, you're trading me for such and such to try to help turn this around. Were you like, what the hell? Or were you just like,
honestly, I felt like my time there was done anyway. Yeah. I felt like, I gave all I could give, and I mean, I feel like it was needed for both parties, them and me. Mm-hmm. I needed something new. I was there for 6 years and it was cool there. It was cool. The city cool. They have cool people, but I feel like towards that last year, the fans were against me. A lot of I was getting booed in the arena. Like, so I was like, yeah, it's time for a new change. It's time for a new change.
We played in Philly, so we feel you.
Yeah.
So I wanna fast forward to coming into this year, because once I saw you, like our first interaction, you said something to me. I can't repeat it on here. But you said something to me that just rung a bell, and I'm like, oh, you like that too? That's my guy. So like I hope you know what I'm talking about. So I was really excited to just work with you, and it was a move you put on me, and we were playing 5-on-5, and I tell people all the time, in practice, people get to see me play because I'm on we call it the bum team. It's the starters versus bums, and I get to get my shit off first, y'all, and you can see that I can still hoop.
Yeah.
But you put this move on me one time, you did that half spin step back thing. You did this full spin step back. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the paint. And you at 3-point line, you made it. And you ran back down court like it was nothing. And I'm like, man, this dude is so good. Did you ever hear me talking to Loon? Throughout the whole year, I'll be talking to Loon like, this dude don't know how good he is. This dude's amazing.
I'd be hearing you sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but this is the NBA, and we're playing at a super high level. So coming into this year, what was your mindset? Did you think, all right, we're going to make a run at this? Did you think, all right, we had a chance to win a championship? Like, kind of walk me through your mindset entering into this season and kind of how you went through the season.
I believe we could win a championship. I feel like last year, at the end of last year, we didn't win the play-in game, but the team was hooping at the end. Like, we were on a nice run. We were winning. Like, we were those last 15, 20 games, like we were playing good basketball. And then the next year started and we were hooping again. And I always believe we can win a championship. And then we started off hot and I'm like, damn, we don't even got Clay yet.